Have you ever wondered why you don't fit in? Why you feel drained by small talk? Or why silence feels like home, while noise feels like an assault? People might have called you distant, overly serious, or even cold. And maybe, at some point, you started to believe them. But here's the truth. What they see as strangeness is often the mark of something rare. Depth. Because the world celebrates noise, not understanding. It rewards those who speak fast, not those who think deeply. Yet beneath that noise, there's a quieter kind of intelligence. One that doesn't need to perform. One that observes before it reacts. One that sees through illusions rather than getting lost in them. And that kind of intelligence, your kind, often hides behind habits the world calls weird. Today, we'll uncover through them, for quiet signals that you are far more intelligent than people realize. Stay until the end, because the last habit, the one few ever master, will show you why people fear your calm more than they'll ever admit. We live in an age of overstimulation, constant pings, endless opinions, perpetual performance. Everyone's trying to be seen, to be right, to be validated. But the price of this visibility is depth. We scroll instead of think. We react instead of reflect. We shout opinions instead of building understanding. The Stoics, thinkers who lived more than 2,000 years ago, faced none of our technology, yet they faced the same inner chaos. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, and still wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." They understood something modern life has forgotten. Real intelligence is quiet. It's not found in who talks the loudest, or who gets the last word. It lives in the space between thought and reaction. That still point where clarity is born. Let's step into that stillness together. And as we do, you might begin to see that the traits you once hid or doubted in yourself are actually signs of a rare kind of strength. Most people run from silence because they can't stand what they'll hear when it arrives. They fill every second with distraction, podcasts, news, endless scrolling, because silence reveals who they really are. But those who carry real intelligence are drawn to solitude not out of loneliness, but necessity. When you're alone, your thoughts become audible. You start noticing what drives you, what scares you, what you've been avoiding, and in that quiet confrontation, growth begins. Epictetus once said, "He who seeks nothing outside his own reason is truly free." That is the heart of solitude. It's not isolation, it's liberation. You stop depending on noise to feel alive. You stop chasing validation to feel worthy. You begin to build a life from the inside out, not the outside in. But solitude is not always comfortable. It exposes the unhealed parts of us, the fears, the regrets, the unanswered questions. That's why most people avoid it. But you endure it. You sit in the silence long enough for it to stop being frightening and start becoming sacred. The Stoics often wrote to themselves instead of speaking to others. Marcus Aurelius's meditations wasn't meant for the public. It was his own dialogue with his soul. Because he understood, the mind is a battlefield, and solitude is the training ground. When you learn to sit quietly and listen to your thoughts without judgment, something shifts. You begin to understand why you feel, not just what you feel. You discover that the world can be chaotic without making your mind chaotic too. If you find peace in being alone, don't mistake it for antisocial behavior. It's a sign that your thoughts are rich enough to keep you company. And that richness, that ability to find fullness in quiet, is the seed of real intelligence. The average person builds their life on borrowed beliefs, rules they never questioned, ideas they never examined. They inherit values from parents, schools, social media, and carry them like untested code running their entire existence. But you've never been able to just go along when someone says, "That's just how things are." You feel a spark of resistance. Your mind whispers, "But why?" This is not arrogance. This is awareness. Seneca wrote, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." And that power begins with one simple act: to question. Questioning isn't rebellion for its own sake. It's loyalty to truth, to your own clarity, to the discipline of thinking before believing. We live in an era of imitation. People copy what works, repeat what's trending, and call it identity. But imitation is the enemy of wisdom. It makes you predictable, malleable, controllable. True intelligence demands that you stop taking the world at face value. It asks you to turn every belief inside out, to test whether it's real or just convenient. When you start doing that, you will lose some people. Those who need certainty will find your curiosity threatening. But the price of their approval is your freedom, and it's not worth paying. Every thinker who changed history started by asking uncomfortable questions. Socrates was executed for it. Galileo was imprisoned for it. Marcus Aurelius questioned his own desires daily to keep himself free from corruption. So, if you've ever felt too different, too unwilling to conform, remember, that resistance to the ordinary is what keeps your mind alive. Don't dim it. That quiet rebellion inside you is the beginning of wisdom. Look round. In most conversations, everyone's waiting for their turn to talk. Nobody is really listening. But you notice things. You watch how people move, how they react, the stories they hide between words. You pick up on patterns. You hear what's not being said. And sometimes, people mistake that stillness for weakness. They think your silence means submission. They have no idea that your restraint is your greatest strength. The Stoics taught that the more impulsive a person is, the easier they are to control. Zeno of Citium wrote that wisdom requires delay, a space between stimulus and response where reason can breathe. When you observe more than you speak, you claim that space. You refuse to be dragged by every emotion or provoked by every fool. You begin to see how much of human behavior is driven not by truth, but by ego, the endless need to prove, defend, or dominate. You choose another way. You let others exhaust themselves trying to be right while you focus on being clear. Observation doesn't mean passivity. It's not detachment. It's control. You are not ignoring life. You are studying it. You're mapping out patterns others can't see because they're too busy talking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake each morning, remind yourself, the people I meet today will be ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, jealous, but none of them can harm me, because I will not let my mind be conquered by them." That's the essence of observation, awareness. Without reaction, it turns every interaction into a mirror. You see what drives others, fear, pride, insecurity, and through them, you learn more about yourself. The moment you can watch your own anger rise and fall without acting on it, you've gained something few ever achieve: self-command. People who talk constantly are often trying to convince themselves, but those who listen quietly, who weigh before they respond, they carry an aura that can't be faked. It's not charm. It's gravity. It's the energy of someone who no longer needs the world's permission to think. That is the intelligence of awareness, and it's magnetic. There is a strange strength in those who have suffered in silence. They've loved and lost, trusted and been betrayed, hoped and been disappointed, and yet, somehow, they still move with calm. Most mistake that calmness for indifference, but the truth is the opposite. You feel everything, perhaps more deeply than others, but you've learned that not every feeling deserves your obedience. Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your emotions are not your enemies. They're visitors, temporary, revealing, sometimes painful, but always instructive. Anger shows where your boundaries are. Fear points to where you still doubt yourself. Sadness reveals what you love. But when you let those emotions rule you, they turn from teachers into tyrants. The Stoic mind learns to stand still while the storm passes. It doesn't suppress feeling, it transforms it. Think of a time someone insulted you. Their goal wasn't truth, it was control. They wanted a reaction, because if you react, they own your peace. But when you stay calm, when you smile and say nothing, you break the cycle. They lose their weapon, and in that silence, you win without fighting. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." That's why hardship doesn't weaken you. It refines you. It teaches you the art of staying whole while everything round you falls apart. It teaches you that calmness isn't detachment. It's power contained. You've learned that love can exist without losing yourself. That pain can visit without consuming you. That chaos can roar without shaking your center. People sense this about you, even if they can't explain it. They feel your presence, your stillness. They can't predict you, and what they can't predict, they can't control. That's why your calm intimidates them. It's not that you're emotionless, it's that you've mastered what masters most people: reaction. And that is the rarest kind of intelligence, not the brilliance that dazzles, but the strength that endures. 1. You seek solitude because you've learned that silence reveals truth. 2. You question everything because blind conformity is death to the mind. 3. You observe more than you speak because awareness is the foundation of control. 4. You feel deeply, yet remain unmoved because wisdom is emotion disciplined by understanding. These habits may make you seem strange in a world obsessed with attention, but they are not flaws. They are evidence that you are walking the harder path, the path of mastery over self, not over others. People might not understand you now. They might mock your calm or misread your silence, but one day they'll come to you, not for your approval, but for your steadiness. Because when the world falls apart, people always seek those who do not. Real intelligence doesn't announce itself. It doesn't decorate itself with titles, trophies, or opinions. It simply is. It's the man who listens while others argue, the woman who forgives without weakness, the friend who says less, but means every word. In a time when the world glorifies reaction, your stillness will look like rebellion. But hold on to it, because your calm is not absence, it's presence. It's what remains when noise fades, when ego dissolves, when truth finally speaks. If this message reached you, if you recognized yourself in these words, take a moment now. Breathe. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply moving at the pace of real growth. Slow, quiet, deliberate. The Stoics believed that peace is not found by escaping life, but by facing it without losing yourself. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to remember who you are when the world stops demanding. So, when someone calls you to quiet, smile. When they mistake your calm for weakness, let them. Because while they chase noise, you are building strength. And one day, they'll wonder how you stayed so steady when everything round you was falling apart. That is the power of the Stoic mind. It doesn't seek to impress. It seeks to understand. It seeks mastery over emotion, over chaos, over self. When the world shouts, you will observe. When others rush to speak, you will stay silent. And when life tests your control, you will stand firm. Because you've already won the greatest battle of all, the battle within. If this message spoke to you, if you felt a sense of peace, clarity, or recognition, I invite you to stay. Subscribe to StoicCraft, where we don't preach philosophy, we practice it together. We explore the wisdom of ancient Stoics, not as distant ideas, but as living tools for modern life, for anxiety, for overthinking, for heartbreak, for meaning. Because you don't need to become someone new. You just need to remember the quiet strength you already carry inside. So stay silent, stay steady, and stay wise. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people like you.